So you were nominated for a Tony for Best Featured Actor in a Musical for Motown, as we see across your shirt here. But you're wearing a baseball uniform. There was a time in your life where you thought baseball was going to be your calling.
I did. There was a time when I thought I actually might be playing here at Yankee Stadium professionally one day. But, you know, in the 8th grade, I was playing in an all-star game in the summer, and I was sliding into second for some reason, and I broke my left arm. And that was the end of my baseball career. But fortunately for me, that fall, I got accepted into the San Diego School of Creative and Performing Arts, and that's when I found my passion for the arts, and now I'm on Broadway, so it worked out.
So that injury, you stopped baseball cold.
Completely.
A fortuitous injury in a way, because it sent you to the arts, as you said, where you are now.
Where I am now. It's crazy. And then, you know, I got the chance to do a musical called Johnny Baseball a couple years ago, where I played a baseball player in a musical, so it all came full circle.
And in Johnny Baseball, that traced the history of the Boston Red Sox, going back from the Curse of the Bambino all the way up to the World Series title in '04. But it also talked about integration. Now the Red Sox took forever to have their first African-American player in 1959. What was it like to be part of that?
You know, for me, that is one of my favorite experiences theatrically, because it has a little bit of history, a little bit of baseball, and is a musical. So I got a chance to, you know, like I said, come full circle and relive out my baseball years on stage, but then I also got a chance to tell a very American story. It's a fictional piece, but it's based on the Red Sox curse, but I got to do a duet with the character who played Willie Mays. So, and it was, you know, in that scene, basically, my character, who was Tim Wyatt, and Willie Mays were trying out for the Red Sox. And, you know, in the show, I don't want to give anything away, but we bring to light their, you know, quote-unquote history of racism. And we kind of link that to the curse as opposed to the Curse of the Bambino. But Babe Ruth is a character in that show as well.
I know what kind of player Willie Mays was. What was the Willie Mays actor like as a singer?
Oh, he's fantastic. It was played by a really good friend of mine named Alan Green. He's been on Broadway. In fact, we did Sister Act together on Broadway, Alan Green and I, after that. And we had this stupendous two-person duet called Welcome to the Big Leagues. And basically, it's right after these two colored players, as you know they were called then, tried out for the Yankees, and they're in the locker room and they meet for the first time, and you know, Tim and Willie Mays meet, and then they sing this great song about see you in the big leagues.
Now, you said you got a chance to reintroduce yourself to your baseball skills. From 12 until a few years ago, what was that like? Did you have to remind yourself of them, or did it all come back like getting on a bike?
Surprisingly, it was like a bike. It came back. My first reinterest to baseball, I actually started playing in the softball league when I was out in Vegas playing with the Jersey Boys team. Okay. I did Jersey Boys in Vegas for a year. So that was my reintroduction to, you know, softball. And then when I got into my first Broadway show, which was Sister Act, I got into that team, obviously, and it all came back. Like, you know, I had to do some batting practice. My hits weren't as good as they were. I used to be a home run hitter. Now I'm just, you know, I can connect. I still need to get in the batting. I need to get some batting practice in, but it's fun. Like, it brings back memories. Today, being in the outfield at Yankee Stadium brought back memories from when I was in the outfield, but I'm a first baseman at heart, so they let me play first base when I play for Motown.
You grew up in San Diego, so any San Diego kid from the time where you grew up there, the guy that you idolized is?
Tony Gwynn, baby. Tony Gwynn, yeah. Had his baseball cards all over. Me and my cousin used to have his posters in our rooms. Yeah, he was the man to us.
What did you like about him? I had the opportunity, thankfully, to interview him a couple of times. I loved to talk to him about hitting technique, and he was so smart. He wasn't just the guy who put up a good average and went up there and said, all right, you know, I'm going to try. He was so smart and a technician with what he did.
That's exactly what I liked about him, is that he was such a technician at hitting, and I, you know, like to hit the ball. I mean, I love playing first base as well because I like to be involved in the action, but I really love batting, and I love, you know, striking the ball. I guess I get some aggression out or something. So, you know, that's part of the reason why I looked up to Tony Gwynn, is because he was such a good batter.
Now that you do what you do, 8 performances a week, do you ever feel a kinship with professional athletes who every day, especially in baseball, now football they play once a week, and I know they beat each other up on that Sunday, but in baseball, I've covered this for more than 20 years, the guys talk about how there's a game every day, which is good and bad. It's good if you have a bad game, you get to come back. Sometimes it's bad when you got 20 games in 20 days.
I definitely feel their pain because, you know, we do 8 shows a week on Broadway, so we have a game every day, sometimes 2. We only have today, Monday, which is our one day off. I'm not here playing a game. But I can definitely understand the plight, you know, and it's very athletic. You know, people think that it's just singing and dancing, but that takes a lot out of you physically. You have to have your body conditioned. I go to the gym at least 4 or 5 times a week. I go more now than when I actually was playing baseball as a kid because I have to keep my endurance up. So we are athletes in that way.
What do you do when you're at the gym? You a cardio guy? Are you a
I do everything.
circuit guy?
I try and hit a different body part every day, and then I do a couple days of cardio as well. So I do the whole full body thing.
So I have to tell you, I go to see Motown a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and when you step on stage for the first time, and you don't even speak yet, you don't even sing yet, when your first word comes out of your mouth, there's a hush that falls over the audience, and everybody's almost saying,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, this guy is Smokey Robinson.
Yeah, and then they start to applaud just for the speaking voice. And we actually had to put a hold in the music. At that point, we're in a vamp. The music is vamping, and I'm supposed to come back in with some dialogue, and we actually had to stretch it out and put a hold in there for the audience applause because they're applauding just my speaking voice. So that right there gets me going. And like I was talking about earlier, a 2-show day, as soon as I get out there and my first line, I'm getting applause, I'm like in it. I'm awake no matter how tired I am.
Am I putting you on the spot to ask you to do that first line right here? Can you reel
Sure.
that off?
My first line is, it's always been the mythical Motown love. Thunderous applause.
It's unbelievable, yeah.
Yeah.
People, because the show is so good that you told me earlier as we were walking to do this interview that you're not imitating him because then you might as well just be a Vegas act. You're giving people the spirit of Smokey Robinson, and I think that is that's probably the definition of acting.
I think so, and I think, the thing is, as actors, you always have to try and find the realness of the person and given their history. And, with someone like Smokey Robinson, everyone knows his history, his sound, what he speaks like. So for me, I had to make sure that I was accurate in those ways, but then also brought myself to the role because as an actor, you have to bring yourself to it. So I tried to find that balance and then, find a way to sing that high 8 times a week. Because as you can see, my speaking voice is not quite as high as his, and my singing voice isn't quite as high as his either, although now it probably is, I guess.
Now, what kind of research goes into that? Do you read about him? Do you watch videos of him? Do you have CDs in your apartment of Smokey Robinson? How much research did you do to get the role?
All of that. I read his autobiography. Luckily, it's 2013, so I got to go online and go on YouTube and see all the video clips I can find. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of video footage from the 60s and 50s, so that was harder to find. So I kind of had to create what I thought he sounded like then as a younger man, more so, because there's a lot of stuff of him singing, but not much of him speaking. So I had to go and create in my mind what I thought he would have sounded like as a younger man, and then I could see videos as he aged. Your voice drops a little bit, so that's all part of the characterization too. So, autobiography, iTunes, YouTube, you name it.
Now, how about the audition process? I mean, Motown the Musical is doing great. You get nominated for the Tony. Everything is great right now, but this is like the player who's hitting 300 and everybody forgets that he was in the minor leagues for a while. He had to climb to get to that point. What was the process like to get where you are now?
I was in the minor leagues earlier this year. I mean, this January I was in the ensemble over at Jersey Boys on Broadway, and then we started rehearsals in April, and I was actually doing double duty. I was doing Jersey Boys at night, my ensemble role, and then coming in the morning to do rehearsals for Motown as one of the leads. So that was a really tricky couple of weeks because I had to do both shows, which were both actually vocally demanding for me. So it's incredible to be where I am now and to get to play such an iconic role and be living out my dream. It's unbelievable, and I'm standing at Yankee Stadium now.
I watched the show when I was there, and I'm sure that every show has some element of this, but there seemed to be such a camaraderie amongst everybody on stage as you guys were telling an unbelievable story of music history. I mean, Motown and Berry Gordy and all that entailed, I mean, that's a heavy piece of music history.
You know what? We really are the new Motown family. It's been instilled in us from Mr. Gordy himself that we are actually the Motown legacy. He told this story himself. We are actually saying his words on stage and telling this story as he remembers it on stage. So we really feel the responsibility to uphold that legacy, and therefore we've become a really big family. I mean, we really are the Motown Review. I feel like we're all on the road together, and we're a family, and that comes with its ups and its downs. We have our little bickerings but nothing major. We really we look out for one another. We hang out with one another when we're not working, which is a great thing, and we really do truly love each other.
You have gotten the opportunity to meet Smokey Robinson. He's seen the show. I have to know, what was that interaction like?
Oh man, that was incredible. The fact that not only Smokey Robinson, but Diana Ross and Berry Gordy and Stevie Wonder and Gladys Knight were all there opening night. And they all came up on stage, and they all gave us the biggest hugs and told us what a great job we were doing. Smokey told me that he was crying because it was bringing back so many memories of his life. So that was overwhelming, to say the least. And then he came back again for a second time and sat in the second row where I could see him. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was up there singing You Really Got a Hold on Me. And Smokey Robinson is sitting right there listening to me portray his life and sing his song. So that was a surreal moment.
Now, before you got into the show, did you have a favorite Smokey song? And now that you do a couple of songs in the show, have they taken over as your favorite songs?
You know, the funny thing is, my favorite song to do in the show is also my first song I knew of Smokey, which is one of my favorites, which is You Really Got a Hold on Me. In the show, it's written in a way that's very tense, and it's they're in the South in the 60s, and there's lots of racial tension, and I love anything with high drama. That's, you know, as an actor, that's what you live for. That's the juice of what you want. You know, that's the home run. But to get to sing that song in that moment is great. The first time I heard that song was on Sesame Street, where Smokey was singing You Really Got a Hold on Me with the gigantic letter U. That had a hold on him. It was like grabbing him. So that was cool, you know, like to get to finally sing that song on the Broadway stage 8 times a week is incredible. And I also love getting to do Shop Around too.
You know what? I may be putting you on the spot here, but we want everybody to go see Motown.
Yeah.
Can you give us a snippet, a little flavor of you doing that?
Okay. I don't like you, but I love you. Seems like I'm always thinking of you. Though you do me wrong now, my love is strong now. You really got a hold on me.
Jeez, I don't even need the questions anymore. You should just keep singing, and everybody will watch this. Unbelievable, man. You have an unbelievable talent. Anybody who doesn't go see Motown, they are missing out.
Yeah, they got to come see us.
Not only you, but everybody that comes on that stage. The talent, it just oozes with talent.
Every single person on our stage is a star. They could each have their own show. That's what's great about it, is because you're working with peers and there's no weak link. It's like a team, you know? Every single person is an all-star player on our team.
Now, we started out talking about baseball, then we talked about Motown, and you're singing, you're acting. My trademark is I end this show, and we both get a pack of baseball cards.
Okay.
This is yours. It's 2012 Topps. We go through them.
Okay.
Whoever's got the best baseball card, and we might have to debate this,
all right,
gets both packs.
Okay.
You up for this?
Yeah. So do we pull at the same time, or?
Yeah, let's just rip it open like it's a Christmas present.
All right.
We'll go from there. All right, I just got off to a good start. I got Clay Buchholz. That's not very good.
Andrew McCutcheon.
You got Andrew McCutcheon.
Yeah. I think
Game over.
I think I win.
He's got Willie Mays. Here you go. You can have all mine.
All right. I got that.
You got to bring that to your buddy who played Willie Mays.
I will. Actually, I will.
Willie Mays?
Willie Mays.
You got to go play the lottery.
I know.
This was great. Charl,
Thanks,
thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.